Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of Building a Custom Mandolin here at Ratliff Mandolins. We have our color on the mandolin and it's time to proceed. We are going to put a single coat of lacquer on here to kind of tack and hold the color on, and then we're going to clean the binding and the pearl back off, the excess stain back off of that, and then we'll continue on with our build coats for the final coats of lacquer. So let's move on right now and shoot a single coat of lacquer on here to hold the color on. What you see there is a motley collection of X-Acto type knives, each with the blade ground to a different profile. Now that our tack coat is dry on this mandolin, I will take these blades and clean off the excess stain on everything, the pearl, the binding, everything that needs to be cleaned up before we shoot our clear coats. Usually this job takes about an hour or an hour and a half on a standard mandolin, but I expect this one, because everything has to be touched, so much pearl and everything, I expect that this one will take a great deal longer. So I'll not get done if I don't get started, so here I go. And now I will run some footage of just the mandolin so you can get a real good idea of what it looks like in its current state. Let me explain while you're looking at these shots of the mandolin exactly what we need to do from here to finish it up. You'll notice that the finish looks somewhat rough and pebbly. That's simply because there's not enough lacquer put on it yet, and it just needs to have more coats put on it. Once I get the appropriate amount of coats, which will probably be about 3, then I'll take a piece of 220 grit paper and lightly go over it before applying yet another coat of lacquer on it. And then I will continue that process of 1 coat and then sanding on it to slick it down, each time with progressively finer sandpaper. We'll go from 220 to 320 and then 400 and maybe even as far as 600 to make sure that we have a nice clean surface for those final coats to go on. Once I'm happy with the way the finish looks, then I will indeed put those final coats on there, probably about 2 coats, and then we will hang it up and let it cure. After it cures for a couple of weeks, which is basically all of the thinner and the vehicle which delivers the lacquer finish to the surface Once all of that flashes off or evaporates out of the finish, then it's considered cured. And now the mandolin is scraped. It is squeaky clean and ready for its very first overcoat of lacquer finish. Let me run some footage of that. I find that I was actually way too optimistic about my time spent preparing this mandolin. It actually took 3 full days to go from the beginning of episode 24 to where we're at now. What I had hoped to do in 8 or 10 hours actually took 24, and a lot of that was due to the complexity of the pearl and scraping it clean and all that kind of stuff. So it actually took a great deal longer than I thought it would. The polishing process will entail going over the whole mandolin with probably a piece of 2000 grit paper, just to knock off any dust or anything that got in those final coats, and then polishing it out with progressively finer grits of polish until you have a nice mirror type finish. So, but I'm sure we'll discuss that more when we do it in the future videos that'll cover that. So that's where we're at right here. So I think this will be a good place to close this video out, and we'll probably pick up with the polishing and that sort of thing in our next Building a Custom Mandolin video. I want to thank you so very much for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you wish, and we'll look for you in the future. Bye now.